Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing? Oh, I'm tired. Went to climb for the first time in a while, and it shows both in results and in fatigue. But doing all right. Adam, Kuruma, Path, Random, Abdul, and Delta. Hey guys, good to see a few people being early. Always nice. Today we'll talk about a few altcoins, I guess, because I promised I would. I'm not going to be promised any of what I'm going to talk about is going to be bullish. And even if a chart looks bullish, I will 99% not buy it, just to give like a PSA. But there we go. Those old shots tweets were hilarious. I'm glad someone enjoyed them because a lot of people did not. People got really upset. Is what it is. But yeah, we'll start out with Bitcoin, but really quickly, and then we'll run through some altcoins. I'll let you guys give me some. If it's gonna be low cap, I will ignore it. As in, I might open the chart, but if I can see it's a low cap, I will not talk about it. So just making sure there. And yeah. Before we start the show, big shout out to the sponsor, which is Woo, as always. Their execution and fees, in my opinion, are some of the best that you can find. If you want to kind of read into that, you should. Links to that in the description. They have an execution dashboard where you can see how much fees you pay on your favorite exchange. If you can find one on there that is cheaper, you should probably go with that as long as you trust it. But yeah, it's you're going to be hard pressed to do so. So yeah, they've been good partners, which is fun. Okay, a bunch of people are already posting the altcoin charts or altcoin tickets. But we'll start with Bitcoin. You can think of whatever altcoin you want to talk about, and then just hit me in like 5 minutes or so. As some of you know, like I bought Bitcoin and then I sold it yesterday because I'm just I just am like that. The reason why I sold, right, is actually not because I'm too bearish, because I'm actually not. It's just we are at weekly resistance, right? This is weekly resistance. No matter whether you take this one or this one as resistance, both have been hit. And given that the market has been kind of shitty and that the S&P doesn't look too great in my eyes, that's been enough for me. Especially given that we also hit daily resistance. So we're in daily resistance right now. We hit weekly resistance. So it's just like, okay, fuck it. I bought cheap enough. I basically bought exactly this line, a little bit below it. It's a nice trade, given the market doesn't really do anything. Like, it's obviously a shitty trade in general because this is 5% and 5% are laughable. But it's a Bitcoin trade that went well, so I'm not complaining, right? And if you think about it, this one, the last one we had was just 17, 18%. So this is like a third of it. It's not that bad. Don, why are you bullish on Bitcoin? Does it not look like a retest to resistance? I mean, I sold. So yes, it does look like a retest. I'm not bullish. I'm not bearish. I'm not nothing. I'm just not in a position. So yeah, that's that basically on the Bitcoin front. There's not that much to say. I think it starts getting interesting towards like if we close the weekly above this resistance, as in above this one, I think this one is not going to stand much chance, right? As in we close above 28K, 29K is not going to be that big of a deal. So I might actually even delete this resistance at that point. Off my charts because I don't think it's one that I would actually trade off of at this point. This one is the most important one. So yeah, that's Bitcoin. Gonna be interesting very soon. It just needs to do a little bit more on the upside, or just needs to break down. And I mean, this could be a bearish retest, right? We have breakdown, bearish retest into further downside. Very possible. I just don't have strong views right now. No strong views on Bitcoin. So that's Bitcoin, and now we're gonna go to the altcoins, and it's gonna pain me because charts look shit, and this is gonna be boring as hell. But you guys wanted it. You guys forced me into it. So you guys are gonna have to live with it. I'll try my best. I'll try my best to be somewhat entertaining while giving good info. Generally speaking, I don't trade altcoins that much anymore. So take everything that I say with a grain of salt. If I insult your favorite bag, don't write Twitter threads about me. Just how it is, right? You're asking me for my opinion. I'm going to give you my opinion. We'll start off with ETH, right? Because it just makes sense. And I think this is one of the main reasons why why altcoin bullishness doesn't make much sense to me right now. Like, you have ETH as an altcoin index, right? That's basically how ETH's been. It's been a strong altcoin index. If you want to take any risk that isn't Bitcoin, but you don't want to take stupid amounts of risks, then you buy ETH, right? And ETH's been struggling big time. Now, if you compare the market structure that we are having right now to basically the market structure that we had, it's glaringly obvious that this was nice, right? Like, if you look back, obviously, at this point here in time, if you go here, right? Like, at this point in time, this obviously doesn't look that good, right? But if you go further, can I actually, how the fuck, this has been a while. Yes. So if you kind of go further from this point and you kind of start looking towards here, for example, then you see that you have lows, highs, and you kind of started an uptrend, right? So at this point, it starts getting interesting. Now, what we have here is pretty much the same situation, just inverse. As in here, like, you don't have any information, right? It's just a range, technically still in an uptrend. But then you have a range break to the downside, and you don't make a new high, right? So basically, you set a high here, and you did not manage to break it here. And ever since then, basically, it's been a consistent downtrend, and it's been a bleed, right? It's been a straight up bleed. There's no good price action here. It's like, people have been trying to trade ETH, and yeah, you make 10% here, 10% there, relative to Bitcoin. But in comparison to what we've had in the past, right, this is not interesting price action to trade. So basically, you're just following Bitcoin with weakness, because there's underlying weakness in this market. So if you've been bullish Bitcoin and you've been trading ETH, you've been getting wrecked. If you've been bearish Bitcoin and you've been trading ETH, you've been making more money. And yeah, there's a pretty obvious downtrend, and I think it doesn't really become too interesting at any support level, really. Like, this is too big of a consolidation to just be like, oh, I'm just gonna buy the false breakdown or whatever. If anything, you want to see how this plays out. Like, if this breaks to the downside, you want to see how this plays out. If it comes all the way back, cool, that's a trade. If it consolidates for a while at lows similar to this, maybe that's a trade. If you like ETH, I'll actually make this pen in a different color. Can I? Yeah, I can. But in my opinion, you need some good evidence to make this trade attractive, because right now it's not. And one good piece of evidence would be if you actually start breaking these highs, right? So this is the high. These are the highs that I'm looking at. Anywhere above there starts getting interesting. until we trade above there, it's just the least interesting chart at all, like in the market. I think ETH BTC is pretty shit. Might as well trade Bitcoin because this is not deviating too much from Bitcoin, but it is weak. But also, like in general, it just muddies the Bitcoin chart. It's a worse Bitcoin chart, and you see this on ETHUSD. I mean, it's been pretty clean to the downside, right? The bearish setup has played out perfectly. Talked about this for quite a while on this show. Now it's bearishly retesting the previous, I don't even know where this is coming from. The random line that I have on here. Nah, it's from, it's from here, I'm guessing. It's been pretty nice though, that line. But I don't know what the fuck this anchor is supposed to be because it's supposed to be down here. Anyway, we'll leave it up there. I actually like it better. You were just gonna ignore that it's anchored here, put it here, and then it's gonna be decent, right? So this is the level. Used it as resistance here, as support here, failed it. Using it as resistance again here. So that's not that great. ETHUSD doesn't look that good. Looks even worse than Bitcoin, and Bitcoin hasn't been looking so great. So that speaks volumes for altcoins, right? Like if you just think about it, ETH is bad. Like ETH is trading poorly. It's the most bullish altcoin that we've had long term, right? That's not the best. But yeah, we'll still go over the other altcoins, see if we can find something that's interesting. So yeah. Your writing is worse than mine. Hey. I'm left-handed and I have my mouse in the right hand, so don't you judge. You write with your left hand, and then you can come at me. Because that is how it is. That is how it be. So yeah, a bunch of people have been mentioning Sol. Sol is actually one of the ones that has been stronger. We talked about this when it was at resistance on the USD pair. And I was like, yeah, this is nice because it's actually like it's starting to develop into an uptrend, but it's still at resistance, right? And that played out quite nicely. It moved lower. And now it's pretty much do or die for Sol, and this is why you've been having a little bit of outperformance the last 2 weeks, because you have a low down here, right? That, as I indicated the last time we spoke about it, you need to make a higher low, because if you break this, this whole like shitty downtrend that we've been having continues, right? So the bulls are just like, okay, let's defend this. In my opinion, just looking at this chart, I actually don't like it that much anymore. Not at the current point. It's not the worst, but I would say there's a major resistance here where we're trading right now. So that was before the breakdown, before up. I think it's an important level. Solana is big enough to be able to chart some of it. And I think actually this one is a little bit cooked. So Solana starts looking much, much better above this resistance. As long as it's trading below it, it's not really interesting. And I think the reason why I just removed that resistance is because it's been tested so much. So, yeah, I don't really like that resistance that much anymore. It's pretty close to being great, but right now, like this is not the strongest reaction to making a higher low or trying to make a higher low. And if it fails this one, it's hilariously bearish, right? So do with that as you will. I think it's one of the stronger ones. You see this also on Sol BTC. We talked about this support level here. That's been holding. I'm not a big hater, right? Like this is one of the better looking altcoins. There is potential. It just still looks shit. Like if this was, like it's just not great. Like just look at this chart. It's been down only. You can literally draw a line through this, and that's how price action has been. And if this level fails here, it's just straight back to that line downwards. Relentless sell pressure. Not that much interest in buying, but like I said, at least it's one of the better looking altcoins. So yeah, Solana's overweight for FTX sell-off. I mean, to my knowledge, a lot of the Solana that FTX has is locked. So that's going to take a while. They're not going to be able to sell all of it immediately. So yeah, could still do decent even in the face of that. But like, I'm not the biggest hater of the chart, but I'm also not the biggest fan. Like, this is, even if this was not an altcoin, if this was something I'd like, right, I wouldn't be buying it. And it's an altcoin. I don't like altcoins when they're not hilariously bullish or stupidly cheap, right? Sometimes you get dumb candles to the downside, and you just know, like, it's dumb. It's a dumb reason to go down. And then I'm like, okay, I can buy this altcoin. Or you have a narrative on the horizon that is bullish, and then I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm down. We had that with Litecoin. Didn't play out as nicely, right, as we would hope. $60 to $100, not necessarily the best trade, but not the worst, right? 60 to 100 is almost a 2x. I cannot really complain about that one. How much of an influence does global liquidity have on Bitcoin right now? You're asking the wrong guy. I'm just a duck on the internet, but I think it's a lot. Obviously, like, if money is more expensive and you don't get it as easily, that has an impact. Okay. Can you chart crude? The TradFi guys. I think charting stuff like this is pretty useless, in my opinion. Like, people are like, oh, yeah, there's support, there's resistance, blah, blah, blah. I think it's bullshit. That's not a good chart. Is there a better one? Where is the best? Well, this doesn't really help. I hate these wicks. Anyway, can I? Fair enough, this works. Yeah, I mean, why would I be charting this? I think in general, the only things that you look at in these kind of markets, like as in the traditional markets, is like, if you want to trade them, like, you go on the quarterly or whatever, and then, like, if you want to chart them, and then you can look for lines, and I mean, then you can find them quite nicely. But the low time frames, as in like anything below the monthly, just kind of garbage. So I could make lines up, and I mean, you can see that they fit quite nicely and they actually work quite well on the quarterly, but on the low time frames, there's not really that much to be had. But this looks bullish, right? It's a really bullish looking chart. That's all I can say about it, which doesn't bode well. Oh shit, we're getting a dump. Great, Don made the market nuke again. Thanks, very cool. Yeah, my hate. Look at this, ETH's down. Is Solana down? Look, we shit talked Solana instantly. Red candle is what it is. Bitcoin down. We love to see it. It's just how it is. Will you enter a Bitcoin position on a breakout to the upside? Probably, if I get something cool. Thanks, Don. Finally a dump. I mean, the cool thing is, right, like, I actually got to sell 27.4. Shout out to the Friend Tech gang. They actually saw it live. But I tweeted about it at 27.3, so pretty much potato. So thanks on TradFi dumping. Yeah, that's where this is coming from. It's probably because what's his name is talking again. Whatever. They don't pay us enough to care about TradFi. Like, let's just be real. Like, I just signed up to trade fucking stupid made up internet money that is all a Ponzi, and I didn't sign up to trade the S&P. Powell, yeah. I mean, I know. I cannot with you guys. Whatever. Anyway, that's that. Let's get back to our shitcoins because there's more to shit talk. we need to find some worse charts. Solana, like I said, one of the better looking ones. I'm not a hater. In this, like, I'm not saying, okay, Solana is going to underperform. I think, if anything, Solana is going to outperform other altcoins, even with the whole FTX is going to dump on your head. It's just a question of, are altcoins in general really going to go up? And that question is answered with most likely no. One of the reasons why I say that is just because the entire narrative that is holding this market up, right, is the Bitcoin ETF. If we didn't have that narrative, I think we'd be trading at 20K already. So that's a Bitcoin narrative for the people that are confused, and a lot of people seem to be confused. Some people are mentioning, like, I'm only gonna chart stuff that is on decent centralized exchanges. And I mean, I'm not even saying Binance is decent, but I mean, Binance is the lower bar, right? If it's not on Binance, I'm not going to chart it. I'm sorry. Like, I see a lot of tickers that I know from on-chain stuff, but you will not see me do that. I'm sorry. Maker. Yeah, I've seen a bunch of talk about Maker. Do I have it in my list? We can add it here. Maker USD and Maker BTC, because we're boomers and we look at BTC charts. So Maker up today, even in the face of the dump, doesn't really care. I haven't missed the ticket spam. Yeah, Maker looks good. Like, this is what you want to be seeing with altcoin charts. This is what you want to be seeing with altcoin charts, right? Like, a lot of the ones that you send me are going to look like shit. This one is really not that bad. You basically have a range down here, right? So you had your false breakdown, nice V. You had your retest on the range bottom after a test of the range high. That's what we like to see, right? And then it's been up only into resistance, through resistance, and a retest. Now, obviously, the fact that it retested, it's not super like exciting for me. I prefer when stuff like, if this just went sideways here and then went further up, it would look even more bullish. But I cannot really argue. Like, as long as you get the retest, basically the setup is you don't want to close back below in the range, right? And you never got that, so it's not the worst in the world. So you basically got a setup where you could have bought down here. Like I said, I'm not interested in altcoins because I generally, when altcoins as a whole are not bullish, I'm not going to be buying any outliers. It's just not for me. I know a bunch of people make money with it. For me, I don't really care. I want altcoins as a whole to be bullish because I'm too stupid to pick the right one, right? You're not going to see me be the genius that buys the one coin that goes up while everything else goes down. That's not me. So I need everything to be bullish to buy something because I'm just not trusting my shitcoining abilities. But this one looks decent. Broke the highs here. As in, that was the closest resistance. Yeah, I actually like the look of this chart. It's pretty tough to pick resistances, but maybe like up here. So 2.2K. And this is the reason why this was such a nice setup. I actually didn't even see it at the time. Like, I'm not even looking at altcoin charts these days. But the reason why this is a nice setup is basically because you get a range retest. You have an invalidation of, okay, you close anywhere back in this. So let's say you get to buy like at 1,000, maybe even around 1,000, like you got a really nice entry, right? The worst that you lose on taking this trade, I mean, it's like a 10-15% downwards candle, and then you get a close and you have to exit manually, right? That's the worst that you get to lose basically on a trade like this if you're wrong. and the upside is like 120%, which is nice, but unlikely to hit, obviously, given the general altcoin market. But the risk to reward is there. It's a clean setup. If you ignore everything else that's going on in the market, like this is one that actually looks nice. And you're gonna see, I was about to say, you're gonna see this reflected in the Bitcoin price, and obviously that's been doing quite well, off basically listing lows. But on the Bitcoin pair, there's really nothing there. It's not too interesting of a chart, I think. So this is a USD pair. So not a big hater, but not one that I own. So like at the end of the day, I really don't care where this goes. But it's a nice setup. There was a setup in there. Is there a setup in there right now? I mean, you could find one if you really wanted to. Basically, like you have a close above this. You have an invalidation below here. That's okay of a trade with a target up here. I'm actually not too opposed to it. Like I said, I'm not taking anything though. And the reason why is because if Bitcoin dumps, you're gonna get rug pulled. If ETH dumps, you're gonna get rug pulled, right? So for me, given I'm not sure about those, I'm not in altcoin land. Just to make that clear. But I said Solana is one of the better ones. Maker looks even better than Solana. Whoever picked that out, I saw it myself too. Like it's been chatted about on Twitter in the last few days. Don't know if that's a good sign or not, but yeah. Pepe is one that I'm seeing in the chat, and that's glorious because I like shit talking this because a bunch of people made fun of me for saying I'm definitely not gonna buy, and I wasn't here. I didn't even hear about Pepe on the way up. This is the first time I heard of it. I was like, you guys can have fun, but not with me. It pumped, and it's been down only since. And this is actually like just a straight up market cheat sheet kind of chart, right? You have the complacency shoulder here. You have the euphoria pump. Yeah, I like whatever I could draw here doesn't really help. It's just a very, very, very bearish chart, and with a nice downwards, with a nice downwards trajectory. Yeah, not great. But I also like, yeah, I mean, I don't like meme coins in general. They're great if you catch them early, but then if you catch them late, you're gonna be dumped on 99% down all the way. Don, please, can you look at Nvidia stock? We hate altcoins. No, I mean, the fact that the crypto people are talking about Nvidia would make me hesitant to buy this thing, but I generally don't buy stuff like that. It's just gone ballistic. And I mean, yeah, maybe this is gonna be, maybe you're gonna do your business in Nvidia stocks in 100 years, right? Like you're gonna go to the store and give them 0.00000000001 of your Nvidia stock you bought, and then they're gonna give you some groceries. But at some point, yeah. Enough is enough, and this is not something that like there's nothing that you can chart here. It's just a very bullish chart, and it's a very strong uptrend. But at some point, like, do you want to buy this here? I don't know. Like, maybe you can. What am I gonna do? Like, just buy into this pump? Not really interested. I prefer trading my crypto scams over something like this. Atom BTC, that's at support, to be fair. But it's one of the ones that I was watching. You could see it in my watch list, and it's at support. It hit support, and I was like, oh shit, maybe there's a trade there. And then I saw the reaction to it. I was like, I'll just leave it alone. It's a long time range, but to me, this kind of reaction is shit. This is what you want to see. This is better. This is just kind of garbage. So it's range low. You can, if you're super bullish Atom, as in the coin, because you think it's going to change the world, it's at a nice area of support on the Bitcoin pair. But yeah, I actually don't even know where this is coming from. It's interesting. Like sometimes I see my old drawings, I'm like, what was I talking about? Because like I must have drawn this after or at the same stream that I did these. So the price action must have already happened. So it must have been anywhere after this point. So why was I drawing this? I don't know, but it's what it is. Sometimes I'm curious about my past thinking. Anyways, like you look at the USD pair, and also doesn't look that great. Like it did a bearish retest, failed, sitting at support, barely holding on. That's not a good shot. Didn't even manage to do the whole head and shoulders. This is the Quasimodo shoulder. It's not doing well, that person. But yeah. If I see a comment like 10 times, I'm just gonna ignore it. Like there's just a little bit of niceness that people need to put in to not make the chat miserable for everyone else. But yeah, I'm not the biggest fan personally. Like in comparison to what you just saw on Maker and Solana, like this is just not that great. It's both at support on the USD pair and on the Bitcoin pair, but it's barely reacting to it. So there is technically a setup there. It's just one that doesn't really excite me at all. Would you short AVAX? I mean, brother, you're a little bit late. You're a little bit late to that. Look at this. Look at this. And you're asking me whether you should short it. Dude, look at these weekly candles, man. Like what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then after 10 weeks of straight up selling, this shit went in the last 10 weeks went down 30% against Bitcoin. And you're like, oh shit, should I start shorting this now? And this is down 87%. It's been literally down only since this, right? There's been essentially zero bounces for the last 70%. I've put a million bottom signals on this because I've been shit talking this the entire way down. And after all of this, I get you ask me if you should short it. Dude, what am I gonna say? Like, is this probably gonna go lower? I mean, probably. Are you gonna make money if you short this? Probably not, because then it's gonna put in a candle like this, and then it's gonna bleed out further. So if it pumps, maybe you can short it. If you short it like right here, I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, how long have we been shit talking AVAX? For the people that have been in the chat for a little bit longer than a week, and after like 90% of a move down, the brother asked me if I should short. I mean, it could still be a good trade, right? I'm not trying to shit talk you or anything, but like at some point, right? And technically on the USD pair, it actually just started breaking down. But still, like at some point, you gotta be a little bit realistic. Like if you start shorting stuff that's down 90%, there's a good chance it goes down further 90%, right? But at least short a bounce. Like you don't short when it's just down only. You short when it bounces. Don, I'm deeply ashamed for you showing your audience these fraudulent, unregistered securities. I'm simply disappointed. So far, I've only been shit-talking stuff, no? Actually, I haven't been shit-talking Maker, and that does smell like a security to me, but we'll ignore that. Lol, Don, you would be a great college teacher. Yeah, you think so? I don't know. About that one. I actually wanted to become a teacher back in another life, but that was long ago. And then the reason why I'm here and not a teacher is basically because I took apprenticeships at a school that I used to go to, and spent like a couple months basically doing like teaching. And the children, like I did like first grade, as in like the first year you go to school, all the way up to 10th grade, which is the 10th year where you go to school. I don't know how the American system works. That's why I'm saying it this way. Basically the first 10 years of school. So 6 to basically 16-year-olds. And I actually liked every single age group. The only group that I didn't like were the parents. Fuck the parents. And I can say this as a parent now, but Jesus Christ, these people. Never seen more hopeless people. Like, you see a child and you dislike it, right? Like, there's an 8-year-old running around and you're like, this is so fucking annoying. Like, this child is so annoying. And then you feel bad about like thinking that about a child. Sorry for going on a rant, but and then you see the parents and you're like, oh shit, that's why. Like, literally you just immediately and then you feel bad for the child even more. Like, some people just you should need a license to have children. Like, whatever. But that's the reason why I was just like, fuck that. I'm not gonna deal with parents all my life. I'd rather die. Anyway, what chance do you give Bitcoin breaking below 25k low? I don't know. I don't give it any chance. Like, in general, like, I'm just neutral. Like, 50% it goes up, 50% it goes down. I don't have a strong view. Yeah, that's gonna change the moment I get it set up, but right now, just no idea. Imagine Don teaching kids how to draw lines on charts. This is how we teach in altcoins, kids. No. We have enough people that draw stupid autistic lines on charts. I'm not going to teach anyone how to do it in real life. Don't I speak for everyone when I say you will never be as good as Lapa SZ at trading or boxing? He's simply the best. Fair enough. I'll take that. Is what it is. Don, why did you sell your Bitcoin back prematurely? Because they hit resistance and people were annoying. And I was like, what am I actually doing? Like, I'm holding something where I have not too strong of a conviction into daily and weekly resistance. While the market is shit and I'm not too bullish on the S&P. And I was like, okay, I'm just being stupid. So that's why I sold. Could go up, could go down, whatever, who cares? I want to see this be strong for a little bit more. Cut the scrap, come to the analysis. Now you're talking. Oh yeah. Cut, like, anyone that's here for the actual charts is lost. Just draw your own lines. I don't even know when anyone's listening. Like, if you're not interested in my teacher stories, then what are you even here for? I don't understand. To be fair, if Don becomes a teacher, he can refer his students to be privately tutored by his good friend Cred for line drawing. Start a paid group indoctrinating young. Oh shit, here we go. The alphas in the chat. But yeah, let's jump back into the shitty world that is altcoins right now. What should we talk about next? Coinbase stock. Okay. I mean, it's a little bit of an altcoin. Ay. When in doubt, redraw support. So, it's not looking good, bruh. But it's not looking terrible either. So as long as this is holding, it's okay. But the fact that it retested this is already bad news. You know how it works. Like, you don't like the retests. You like it when it stays up and then goes up. The fact that it retested shows initial weakness, but that can be overcome. But yeah, basically, this is still okay, still bullish as long as this box holds. If it fails, and I mean, this is a stock, so take TA with grain of salt. But if it comes back into the old range, doesn't look that good. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, looking at this chart, not great. Don, we love your stories more than altcoin charts. Fair enough, fair enough. But I'll keep them to a minimum. Some people seem to be annoyed, and they will ruin it for everyone else. I'm sorry. You can just direct your hate at the people that are being rude in the chat. I'm just using you to like as a weapon against the people that are being autistic. Anyway, oh yeah, I'm just gonna ban that guy being annoying. Bye. Good to see so many viewers. I mean, how many is it? Like on my end, it shows 280, which is not that much. We've had more. It shows where the altcoins touched you. For most people, it's in the wallet, I think. First banner ever seen. Yeah, I mean, if you come here and you like my stories are not interesting, which fair enough, they're actually not, and then you actually ask for something that I've already done earlier in the video, I mean, that's not a good combination. But yeah, not that great, not bad. It's still bullish-ish. It's just retesting this and hanging out too long, but it's not the worst. Oh my god, Don has pulled up like 4 stonk charts. It's so over. I've literally just been charting whatever anyone in the chat has been saying. Like it's been the name of the game. Can you please look at Aave? Okay, I'm not going to look at Aave ETH because I think that's a meme. But you asked for Aave BTC, so you're a man of culture. And it's actually not the worst. I mean, it is down only. I actually want to see the... Do I have it here? I actually don't. Let's add it. BTC. Is there actually a USD pair, like a proper one? I mean, I know people trade this a lot against ETH, but I still like ETH pairs. I'm sorry, but no, I'm just not in it. Okay. Maybe I'll take back what I said, but it's having a nice reaction to support, right? So basically you're in this situation on the USD pair. It's actually very, very clean, of a descending triangle. Now, I'm not the biggest pattern nerd, and I think patterns are kind of shit, but this is quite clean, and that's not great, but obviously if it starts breaking out, that's looking much, much better. I generally think it's pretty hard to put stop losses, right? So if you bought this at 50, whatever, 55, that's quite good. Like if you got to buy it low enough where you're just like, okay, if it comes back here, I'll dip, because I think if it goes back to 50, 51, it's probably not that good. Like as in if you got this cheap, that's quite cool. If you didn't, like if you're trying to buy it here, it's a tough call because it's been downtrending. It's actually still like, considering the uptrend it had, this is actually not that much of a down move, but it's still like, this is downtrend, and you have a technically bearish pattern with a technically bearish trend. That's not that great, but the recent reaction is quite decent, but that can turn around quite fast, right? Imagine it dumps this week, you have a red week here, and then it comes back to that support, and then it starts looking really, really shitty because this has been tested a million times. So yes, it's okay. Right now, we like that kind of reaction. 2 good candles offer support. But if it turns around, this thing will get ugly very, very fast. But yeah, I'm not hating on it. I can see what you see. And if this starts breaking out, it starts looking quite good, right? But yeah, it needs to basically come back above like 80-ish and then hold there for a while, because this is quite scary, right? This kind of trend line is quite scary. Don, don't you think this is a hated rally that's going to catch a lot of bears off guard? It was a hated rally the entire way up. Like, oh, you don't even know like how much shit I had to deal with on the way up. Like, I was so stupidly bullish the entire way up, and then I got insulted, and then I got bearish at like around like 30K, and I got so much shit thrown at me too. Like, I just don't get it. Like, no matter what I do in the market, people just hate. It's quite interesting. Like, people are angry at my positioning. But I wouldn't necessarily say this is like a hated rally or anything. It was a hated rally. Now it's just people are just like mostly sitting on the sidelines. Like, that's the largest position. People are just sitting on the sidelines. But yeah, you talked about AVE BTC, so I'm gonna look at that too. Like, it's a nice bounce. And it's a nice attempt at a higher low, because we haven't had that when you look at this chart, right? So you look at the highs, you look at the lows. That's been pretty clear. It's not actually made any new highs, any new higher lows. This is an attempt at it. But the problem with this is that it's been down so long. The nearest high is technically this. You could argue down here, but that's a pretty shitty high. I think you can make a higher high and still go lower. But that would be a first kind of good sign if you went above this area here. Like this, you could argue is the first higher high at that point. And you would confirm this higher low here. So that's one to watch. I'm not a hater. I like it as much as I like Sol. Not enough for me to buy, but it's not the end of the world. If you compare this with other charts that I sometimes look at, Uni looks like shit. I mean, if I throw on ADA, as someone asked about ADA, I mean, what the fuck is this? That's horrendous, right? So your AV is not that bad. It's a disappointing rally now, given what Trad has done. That I will fully agree with. It is disappointing. Don, will you send your kid to private school? Most likely not, but I might. Depends. If I find some, like, depending on what I find. We don't even know where we want to live yet. It's always the loud minority. The crowd appreciates you, even if most of them silent like me. Yeah, I know, and I appreciate you guys. The silent watchers. Just know I'm one of you, because I cannot remember the last time I left a comment on a video, or like if on Twitter I sometimes do, obviously, just to have fun. But that's literally the only time. Like, if I consume any kind of media, I will never even hit the like button. That's why it's so hard for me to even ask anyone to press on the like button, because I mean, I would never. Fuck that. That's just weird. Like, I don't know. Just seems odd to me. So I get it. I'm the silent majority in 99.9% of the cases as well. Is it true that you're thinking of moving to Argentina? Is this like a Nazi joke or something? No, I'm not. Don, why is Casual Friday not streamed live? Because the chat just distracts you, right? Like, if you actually do quality content, It's actually quite nice if you can make the structure yourself, and Cred is really good at that. I'm not good at making quality content. My content is just, I mean, whatever you have today. So I don't care. For me, it makes no difference, because I mean, if I make a video, it's gonna be shit. If I'm gonna make a live stream, it's gonna be, I mean, I'm not gonna say it's gonna be shit, but it's gonna be all over the place, basically. Like, my mind just jumps from one thing to the next and then back again, and it's barely understandable. So live stream works because people can just ask, but if you actually know how to make proper content, I think videos are better. When next bull market starts up, you'll get to smash again. For now, the like button shall suffice. Yes, I mean, fair enough. You can smash whatever you want. Hi, Dawn. I always wondered, how did you get to know Cred? It was actually in a paid group, believe it or not. So I traded on my own for the majority of like my early career, and then during the height of the 2017 bubble, right, when the altcoins went crazy, beginning of 2018, I was like, I see all of these people on Twitter and they actually have no idea what the fuck they're talking about, because there was a bunch of, like, you think Twitter is bad now, back then it was way worse, right? Like, people were just fucking morons. No one knew what the fuck they were talking about. They were selling ICOs to people like it was the future of everything, right? Nowadays, at least, there's a little bit of people are not too dumb to actually believe in this crap. So I was like, I want to see if it is actually really as bad as it looks. And a lot of the content was basically of people was gated, obviously, right? Everyone had a paid group. So I was like, okay, I just want to see how these paid groups are, how they operate. Because these people just post shit and have a bunch of followers, and I want to know, like, if they actually know something or not. And then I joined the paid group and realized that everyone in the paid group was a complete and utter moron. And then the only person that wasn't a moron that I actually really liked and that did good stuff that I could see was Cred. So we got together, talked, and that's how we met. So good times. Anyway, like, that's the backstory of it. Paid like 300 euros to get into that paid group for 1 month, and I was like, this is the worst. I mean, it was a good investment because I met Cred, but I was like, this is why is anyone just not trading on their own? I don't get it. I still don't get it. Like, just make up your, like, why is anyone in a paid group? Just trade yourself. Like, I don't get it, but it is what it is. I think most of us assumed you adopted Cred as your first trial run child. No, that is not how it went. And a child can never be smarter than its parents. You cannot have that. And so I'd be screwed on that front. I'm at a decent level, but I work completely on my own. Can you recommend what is the way to get in valuable chat groups? I don't know. Like, you asked me that, but the thing is, and this is something that, like, people always assume, like, oh, because you have a bunch of followers, you're in all these chat groups and they share alpha and whatever. I'm actually in one chat group, and that's basically just people posting pictures of whatever they grilled on their new grill, talking about their wives and girlfriends, and that's it. I'm in no paid groups. I'm in no chat groups. I'm in nothing. I don't talk with anyone. The only person I really talk to is Cred, and then there's, from time to time, I message someone. So, like, there's no groups that I'm in. There's no alpha I get. There's no pre-sales that I take part in just because I'm an influencer. Haven't had any of that sort, as in my Twitter profile has made me basically no money if you kind of ignore that this show is sponsored, which, I mean, fair enough. But yeah, I could make 100 times more of what I make in any kind of form just by joining any of those groups, but I cannot stand it. So, didn't you get alpha from Loom? Yeah, I mean, Loom and I talk from time to time, but I basically, like, if anything, I'm like, for example, with the whole Bored Ape Yacht Club thing, like I was like, I want to buy NFTs. Do you think I should buy Bored Apes or Punks? And he told me Bored Apes, and Bored Apes went to 0 and Punks stayed the same. I mean, I dumped my Bored Ape for like a 10% ETH loss, but fair enough. But that's that. But he doesn't, like, it's not like he gives like we're like DMing and then he's like, oh, you need to buy now. It's not how it works. If anything, like, he's like, oh, I'm buying, what do you think about it? And I'm like, oh, I'm buying too, or I'm selling. Like, that's as far as it goes, and I don't really talk with people that much. What are you sharing in your FT chat, Don? Except baby advice and making everyone a moron every 5 minutes for buying you. I mean, so I FUD people out of buying me all the time. That's what I do in there. And then people ask me questions pretty much exactly like you have been doing today, and I answer them. So basically, that, right? And I don't answer every question, and sometimes I get lazy, all that kind of stuff. It's just a place to hang out, which I actually find quite cool, like a smaller group to hang out with, as in like a chat room. It's quite cool. I used to be in Discords, shit-talking people, but Discords usually turn quite shitty eventually, so I left. Are you into video games, like esport games? I do play from time to time, yeah, but less. I'm going to play Project Diablo, the launch on the weekend. As in, it's like a Diablo mod. That's what I'm going to play. Sometimes do that with friends. But usually I don't play that much anymore. Get CL on stream again? Yeah, we actually talked about it and we completely forgot. On one of the few last tweets you mentioned Angelo. Could you elaborate? What do you think about him? No, basically people, Angelo, whatever, I don't know how to pronounce his name. He used to be like a legendary Bitcoin bull. Basically tweeted his buys, everything would go up. And nowadays he's kind of mocked because he bought Doge, I think, here at 0.3 or something, and just like it's gonna go to $1, and then it went to 0.75, as in doubled, and then it didn't go to $1, and he kept it, as far as I'm aware, something like that, and then it just went all the way down, and now it's at 6 cents, right? And people are kind of making fun of that, not realizing that the guy basically was a legendary bull with lots of money, and probably still has a lot of money. But I don't have any more insight. Like, I'm the least insidery person that you could ever have on crypto Twitter or anywhere, because I don't talk with anyone, because I'm not really interested. Too much shady shit going on. I just don't like being part of it. And in general, like, I tried back in the day, and then I went to conferences to hang out with people, and they would hang out with scammers and basically would get prostitutes all day, every day. And I was like, okay, this is not the kind of people I want to hang out with. Like, you can be as nice as you want to be, but if you hang out with a scammer every day and make friends, I'm sorry, but that's just not for me. And then I just didn't, and I haven't gone since, basically. But yeah, I think that's that. I'm going to call it a day. It's getting late, and my baby is going to go to sleep. So yeah, she likes to fall asleep with me kind of around, holding her, whatever. So I'm going to do that. But appreciate you guys coming by. Hope it was interesting. We should talk some more coins and then went completely off track. So is what it is. But that's that. Yeah, thanks for coming by. Big shout out to WooX for sponsoring the show. Appreciate their support. Check them out if you're looking for any kind of centralized exchange. But do your own research. There's a lot of material available. I think in general, like, people should actually read into how much they're paying on exchanges, because it's actually quite a lot. And see what you find. So yeah, thanks for coming by. Love you guys. Have a nice evening. Bye bye.